मुझे तो लाइव नहीं दिख रहा है यहाँ, मुझे बोलेगा रहा है।
मैंने कर दिया।
कर दिए?
Yes, ma'am. Hello everyone. So today is the 15th session for foundation level on application of emotional intelligence and business intelligence quotient in human resource development. And this will be covered by our expert speaker, Mr. Vinay Patrale, who is the chairman at Ignited Minds, Pune. He is also the founder, president of NGO Bharat Bharti. He had worked in marketing division of Hindustan Motors. He is a management trainer, a motivational speaker, and imparts training to Mahindra Vehicles, JCB, Fiat, SR, Suzlon, Reliance Power, Excel, Crop Care, etc. He also gave training to professors of various universities and soft skill training to IT companies and banks. He is an author of 8 books and also a column writer in Marathi newspaper. So that was all about his introduction, and now I welcome him to take the session forward.
Namaste. I am Vinay Patrale from Pune, Maharashtra, and the title of the topic today is what is emotional intelligence and application of emotional intelligence and business intelligence quotient in human resource development. In this series of topics for entrepreneurship, there are more than 4,000 nominations from higher education institutes across the states. We are training these innovation ambassadors as in different teams to lead, coordinate, and deliver innovation and entrepreneurship activities in campus and community. First, we shall see what exactly is emotional quotient. In our childhood, the most talented student was the most respected student. We used to ask our difficulties to him. The one who scored always more than 90% marks. He used to be the blue-eyed student for all teachers. But after years, if we scan all those students who were the toppers, are they really successful in life? The answer is not an emphatic yes. On the other hand, those who were backbenchers, nuisance mongers, those who participated in cultural activities, we find them to be more successful in sports career, academic career, professional career, in relationships. Then what is the criteria for success in life? We used to consider the criteria as intelligence quotient, talent. But recently, researchers have revealed that those who have emotional quotient in their life, they are more successful people. They are the people who are effective in life. And in 1995, Daniel Goleman revealed this and put forth this invention before the world that emotional quotient is the basis of success for everybody. अभी emotional quotient क्या है? Let us understand by an example. To run a boat, you need two things. One, propelling force, and another thing, steering. Steering decides the direction, while propelling force creates an energy to push the boat forward. नौका को चलाने के लिए ये दो चीजों की आवश्यकता है. Similarly, in our life, we have energy of emotions, at the same time, logical reasoning of our brain and its capacity. If work together, we become a very successful person. सूर्य और चंद्र दोनों का प्रभाव मनुष्य के जीवन पर पड़ता है. अपने नाक में भी दाहिने नाक को हम लोग पिंगला नाड़ी कहते हैं और बाएं नाक को ईड़ा नाड़ी कहते हैं. बाएं नाक से श्वास लेने से हमारी शीतलता बढ़ती है और दाहिने नाक से श्वास लेने से उष्णता बढ़ती है. इसलिए आपको याद होगा, after meals you are suggested to take a nap, sleeping on the left side of your body so that your right nostril works, because it instigates the digestive agni and it is useful for digestion. तो इस प्रकार से अपने ब्रेन में भी दो हिस्से हैं, राइट ब्रेन एंड लेफ्ट ब्रेन. राइट ब्रेन is considered to be innovative and creative and poetic, while the left brain is calculative and argumentative. Emotional intelligence is activating both the brains at a time. You have two hands. Your right hand is connected to the left brain, and left hand is connected to the right brain. This is God's creation. Nobody can alter this. When you use your right hand, the left brain is activated, and when the left hand is utilized, right brain gets activated. Normally, people have less emotional intelligence. The reason being, we utilize our right hand for maximum purposes and left hand for very less purposes. तो ये फर्क पड़ता है. इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस का मतलब ये है कि अपनी भावनाएं और अपनी तर्क शक्ति दोनों का समन्वय करना, दोनों का उपयोग इकट्ठा करना. And those who can strike this balance are very successful people in life. Especially when I was in Gujarat, I came across people whose education is very less. The sum total of the education of all three brothers is not even 10, but they are running the business of 1,000 crore rupees. What is the secret? They have the intelligence quotient at lower level, but emotional quotient at higher level. This is the secret. भावनाओं की शक्ति बड़ी अद्भुत है. There was an experiment conducted in one of the jails in European country. A person was sentenced to death. He was to be hanged. Some psychologists went him and talked to him. They said, देखो तुम तो मरने ही वाले हो, but we wish to conduct a specific experiment. We want to find out at exactly what point of a time a person dies if blood is continuously removed from his body. There is 5 liters of blood in human body, and we want to take a reading at exactly which point a person dies. But you may say no, it is your human right. But if you cooperate us, it will help in our experiment. उस कैदी ने हाँ भर दी. उसको बताया गया कि तुम्हें सुबह उठा करके ले जाया जाएगा, डॉक्टर नर्स तैयार होंगे, तुम्हारी नस में सिरिंज घुसेड़ दी जाएगी, लाल खून निकलना शुरू हो जाएगा. He was prepared for it. He consented, and he was taken on that particular date in the early morning for death sentence. वो कमरे में एक दिया लटक रहा था. सफेद कपड़े पहने हुए, एप्रन पहने हुए डॉक्टर नर्स तैयार थे, and he was briefed कि अब सिरिंज आपके नस में घोप दी जाएगी और फिर लाल खून निकलना शुरू हो जाएगा, और एक बोतल भरने के बाद दूसरी बोतल रख दी जाएगी. अब 2 बोतल भर गई है, अब तुम्हारे हाथ पैर को पसीना आएगा. अब 3 बोतल हो गई, अब तुम्हें कंपा कंपी शुरू हो जाएगी. And it really happened that he started feeling uneasy. He started perspiring. And then after 5 bottles, the doctor said, now just prepare yourself. At any moment, you may die. And he really died. And it was a very successful experiment. The experiment was without removing a single drop of blood. If a person is made to believe that he is going to die, and if he believes strongly that he would die, can he really die without any physical harm to him, without removing a single drop of blood? Yes, he can. That is the power your mind holds on your body. इस प्रकार के मन की एक अगाध शक्ति को अगर हम लोग संयत कर सकते हैं, तो we can become miraculous. We can bring changes in a huge magnitude. जैसे भीष्म प्रतिज्ञा हम जानते हैं. Now, it is not a function of intellect. It's a function of conviction, that is emotions. When one takes a vow and follows it for the whole life, it needs energy and power, and that energy and power comes from your emotions. Dashrath Maji की कथा हम जानते हैं. He lost his wife. There was a mountain beside his village, and to go to the dispensary, he had to cross that mountain 40 kilometers around. And the doctor said, "Sorry, Maji, you are late by 1 hour." And this man was very angry. His wrath he poured upon the mountain. He decided to break the mountain and divide it into two and create a way through the mountain. This man, the only person without any JCB or any machinery, with normal manual instruments, started working upon it. And he worked and worked for 20 years. He was just breaking the stones. After 20 years, the miracle happened. He divided the mountain and created a way through it. It's a miracle, but only emotions can create such a miracle. A person always thinks, always argues, always think intellectually, can never be so convicted. So you have to strike a balance between your emotions, because emotions are pregnant with energy, but it needs steering, as we need legs to walk as well as eyes to see. Both utilized in harmony ultimately leads to the destination where we wish to go. On similar lines, we need energy of emotions as well as logic of brain ultimately to reach the destination, to the goal and to the target in our life. But it is just like adding salt in curry. कम नमक डालते हैं तो फीका लगता है, ज्यादा नमक डालते हैं तो खारा हो जाता है. Emotions and logic are to be in proportion, are to be in balance. The balanced emotions as well as reason is called emotional quotient. And the higher the emotional quotient, the higher a person's probability of success is. And the good news is, your emotional quotient can be improved. There are techniques, breathing techniques, technique of creative utilization, various techniques which can be applied to improve your emotional quotient. While for intelligence quotient, it is said that it remains stagnant after a certain particular age. After the age of 7, you cannot improve your intelligence quotient. Various applications of intelligence quotient can be there. Suppose you know one language, you can learn another language using your intelligence quotient. But improving the very intelligence quotient is not possible after 7, it says. It is said. But emotional quotient can be improved. But if only emotions are there and emotions are overflowing, then a normal day-to-day routine life, it is expressed in tears by crying or by smiling. Your mind has a particular capacity. If the joy overflows, it is reflected on your face by smiles. If the sorrow is there, uncontrollable sorrow, it overflows through your eyes in terms of tears, and a man cries. So overflowing of emotions, a bit slightly uncontrolled emotions, lead to smile or weeping. But if this uncontrolling factor is more, it goes haywire, then the same emotions which are very sweet in love, which are very sensitive in other terms, if they go uncontrollable, then it leads to disaster. आदमी दारू पीता है, आदमी आत्महत्या करता है, पागल हो जाता है, फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाता है, because there is some mental shock. The emotions are uncontrolled, and those uncontrolled emotions lead to disaster. It is just like fire. You can cook food on fire. Fire is very useful, but the same fire, if it goes uncontrolled, it turn everything into ashes. It is like atomic power. You can generate atomic power and transform it into electricity. Controlled chain reaction is atomic power. But if the chain reaction is uncontrolled, then it is atomic explosion, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So emotional intelligence is very important even in family life, professional life, social life, political life, wherever leadership is required. And leadership is necessary to take decisions, to have vision, to think out of the box. That kind of leadership demands higher emotional quotient. And that emotional quotient can be improved. But how to improve emotional quotient is not the topic that we are going to discuss today. What we are going to discuss today is how do we apply this emotional quotient in our day-to-day life, in our business life, in our professional life. That is what is now we are going to discuss one by one various applications of emotional quotient. The very first thing is you acquire knowledge, applying your intelligence quotient. Acquiring knowledge is the function of intelligence quotient, but you need vivek, discerning mind, to utilize this acquired knowledge for a particular purpose. This consciousness or discerning mind, or we can call it in practical language wisdom, is a function of emotional quotient. मैंने एक चुटकुला सुना था. एक रिटायर्ड मिलिट्री ऑफिसर सिविलियंस के बीच में घुल मिलने लगा. One day he received an invitation for a party, but he was a bit apprehensive to go to the party because women also were invited in the party, and he had no experience how to talk to ladies. But one of his friends gave him very practical tips. He said, there is nothing difficult. Talk to them about their marriage, their family, their home, their children, and they would be happy. And you shall be proved to be a very gregarious person in the party. It was very simple. He made up his mind, and coincidentally, in the party, while having dinner, on both of his sides, there were two beautiful ladies. So he muttered his courage, looked towards left, and asked the question, Madam, are you married? She said, no, sir. Then, Madam, do you have children? And she turned her face. She was angry. This man could not figure out what went wrong. But he was a man from military. He won't give up so easily. So he turned right. But this time he started with children. Madam, do you have children? She said, yes, an elder son, a younger daughter. Then, Madam, are you married? And she turned her face. She thought, what a characterless person he is. Well dressed, but talking rubbish. This man was confused. What went wrong? The sequence went wrong. The discerning mind didn't work. Wisdom was not there. Wisdom is a function of emotional intelligence. So, acquiring knowledge, you need intelligence quotient. But applying knowledge, you need wisdom, that is emotional quotient. That is the very first application of emotional quotient. You need correct decision making, especially in the midst of circumstances and pressures and troubles and struggles. When you are trapped in a situation, to come out of the situation, to take a correct decision, you need emotional quotient. We all know the story of a flock of pigeons who were trapped in a net. The leader in that flock, his name was Chitragriva. He immediately organized all birds, gave them powerful instructions, convinced them, and asked them to fly together in a single upward direction. And then he could take out the whole flock from the trap of the hunter. That is decision making. If you get disturbed by circumstances, your brain cannot function correctly and perfectly. But if you remain undisturbed, despite of circumstances, then that is called emotional intelligence. परिस्थिति कैसे भी हो, अपनी मनस्थिति को ठीक बनाए रखना, ये इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस है. This can be improved. We have come across many leaders who take decision in the midst of warfare, in the midst of terrorist act. They need a very poised, equanimous, balanced mind. And such kind of mind is a function of emotional intelligence. Then the third quality, which is very practical in business, profession, or even in family life, that is the quality of a leader, and that is anticipation. If a leader sees everything that everybody else sees, then he is not a leader. A leader needs to have anticipation. महाभारत में यह घटना हुई. जब महाभारत की लड़ाई पूरी हो गई तो धृतराष्ट्र ने पांडवों को निमंत्रण भेजा. He said, Duryodhan was a cruel person, was a sinner. He has been killed. All his brothers are no more. Now the history has turned a page and I welcome it. अब युधिष्ठिर राजा है और मैं उस राज्य का एक नागरिक हूँ. मैं आपका चाचा हूँ, मैं आपका स्वागत करता हूँ, आपको आशीर्वाद देना चाहता हूँ. I invite you all in my palace. All of them went. Krishna, of course, was with the Pandavas as usual. सब लोग गए. पहले तो धृतराष्ट्र ने जी भर के दुर्योधन को कोसा और फिर कहा, I have one deep desire. I want to embrace Bhima. Where is Bhima? He was about to go ahead, but Krishna held his wrist and pulled him back. कृष्ण ने एक लोहे का भीम का पुतला, जिस पुतले को सामने रखकर दुर्योधन गदा युद्ध का अभ्यास करता था, उस पुतले को धीरे से सामने किया. धृतराष्ट्र, considering that iron statue as a real Bhim, embraced the statue with all his might and pressed it so tightly that the iron statue broke from middle. And then Dhritarashtra, मगरमच्छ के आंसू रोने लगा कि हे भीम, क्या किया मैंने मार दिया तुम्हें. ओ युधिष्ठिर, मैं अपने गुस्से को काबू में नहीं रख पाया. क्या कर दिया मैंने. ओ भीम, I just killed you. My grief was uncontrollable. तब कृष्ण ने जाकर के धृतराष्ट्र के कंधे को स्पर्श किया और कहा, अंकल, nothing has gone wrong. Bhim is right here, quite alive, standing beside me. What you hugged, pressed, and broke was an iron statue of Bhim. Now here we must notice that even after all cruelty, all conspiracies against Pandavas, Yudhishthir and all other Pandavas could not guess the mind of Dhritarashtra, which Krishna could guess. And he anticipated it. And he took corrective action. And he made all procurements to prevent such a fatal murder by Dhritarashtra. इसे कहते हैं anticipation. Or anticipation is a function of emotional quotient. This anticipation and prediction on larger scale, it is manifested in the form of vision. And vision is also a function of emotional intelligence. The one who needs to plan ahead for years together has to have a vision. And vision is practical application of emotional intelligence. Again, let's remember that this is something which can be improved. There are techniques. In our workshops, we teach those techniques. But those techniques are not in the purview of this lecture. But at least we learn how do we apply emotional intelligence and how do we become successful by applying emotional intelligence. The fourth thing that we utilize by emotional intelligence is to understand people. First, you understand your own emotions. You understand things that trigger your emotions. And then as you understand your emotions and the trigger point, you create a gap between the stimuli and response. In that gap, you have always choice. You respond rather than react. And that is emotional intelligence. But you can understand at the same time the emotions of others. You can build strong relationships. You can create synergy of your team applying emotional intelligence. That is the use of emotional intelligence. You can understand people and their feelings and build strong relationships. मैंने एक चुटकुला सुना था. एक आदमी ऑफिस जा रहा था. उसकी पत्नी ने कहा कि वो पड़ोस में देखो, शाम को वो ऑफिस से आता है तो उसकी पत्नी तैयार रहती है और जैसे दरवाजा खोलती है वो उसको भाव में ले लेता है और प्यार से उसके कान में कुछ कहता है, आप ऐसे कुछ करो तो उसके पति ने हिचकिचाते हुए कहा, I would do this, but I don't know her. Oh, Murak, what she meant, what should you do is something different, and what you understood is altogether different. To understand the emotions of people around you, of people working with you and for you, you need emotional intelligence, and that helps you. Emotional quotient helps you to understand people. Emotional quotient ultimately trains you to delay your gratification, to focus on long-term benefits, especially when there are temptations and attractions, and you are expected to think logically and choose correctly. And emotional quotient helps you to focus on long-term benefits rather than shortcuts. मैशमेलो एक्सपेरिमेंट ये बड़ा प्रसिद्ध है. 4 साल से छोटे बच्चों को एक कमरे में बंद करके मैशमेलो मिठाई उनको बांटी गई. The psychologist said, you can eat immediately, but if you wait for 10 minutes, I go out and come back, you will be gifted with another marshmallow. कुछ बच्चों ने तो तुरंत खा ली, कुछ बच्चे इंतजार करते रहे. जिन लोगों ने इंतजार किया और ठहरे, 10 मिनट रुके रहे, उनको दूसरा मैशमेलो भी मिला. But this experiment was not just for 10 minutes. The experiment was stretched up to 30 long years. And the results revealed that those who could wait, could stop the temptation of eating, were successful in their sports, professional, financial, relationship, everywhere, every career. So, to stretch yourself, you need emotional intelligence to focus on long-term benefits rather than getting tempted and attracted towards short-term gains. You need emotional intelligence. रामायण का एक प्रसंग, जब हनुमान जी लंका पहुंचे सीता की खोज करने के लिए, सीता ने उनको पहचान लिया क्योंकि हनुमान जी के पास राम की दी हुई अंगूठी थी. सीता को विश्वास आ गया. सीता ने कहा, हे हनुमान, you go back to Ram and tell him the state of affairs over here. Ravana is cunning, a sinner, and he has given 12 months of time. 10 months are already over. Tell Ram to come immediately by building a bridge across the sea, attack Lanka and relieve me, rescue me from the jail, from Ashok Wan. हनुमान जी का दिल पसीज गया. हनुमान जी ने कहा, माते, आप मेरे स्कंध पर बैठिए, मैं आपको अभी राम जी के पास लेके जाता हूं. सीता denied. Hanuman ji thought, Sita being a chesty woman would not sit on my shoulders, and that is why she is hesitant. हनुमान जी ने कहा, हे माते, मैं आपका पुत्र हूं, मैं राम जी का भक्त हूं, राम जी का सेवक हूं. आपके पुत्र समान नहीं, आपका पुत्र ही हूं. पुत्र के कंधे पर बैठने के लिए माता को कोई दोष नहीं है. You can sit on my shoulders, I will take you to Ram. Now, when the death is dangling overhead, Sita took this decision that she won't go back with Hanuman. Why? Sita ने कहा, हनुमान, अगर मैं तुम्हारे कंधों पर बैठ करके वापस पहुंच जाऊं राम जी के पास और उसमें कोई दोष नहीं, आई एग्री एंड एक्सेप्ट दैट यू आर माय सन and there is no defect, there is nothing wrong in sitting on the shoulder of his own son, her own son by a mother. पर हे हनुमान, अगर मैं तुम्हारे कंधों पर बैठ करके राम जी के पास चली जाती हूँ तो फिर राम का महात्मा क्या रहेगा? लोग क्या कहेंगे? वही सीता जिसका अपहरण एक राक्षस ने किया और जिसको एक वानर ने अशोक वन से मुक्त करके वापस राम के पास ला दिया. No, people would disrespect Ram. I don't want this. At the cost of my life also, I want Ram to be victorious. राम ने पुल बना करके यहाँ आना, लंका पर आक्रमण करना और मुझे छुड़ा कर ले जाना, यही मैं चाहती हूँ. And this is called delayed gratification, and this is the function of discerning mind, and this requires emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is very much useful in life. Striking golden mean is very necessary in life. Life is always about proportion. You should love your kids but not pamper them. Over pampering may lead to some unwanted qualities in your children. So you have to strike a balance between loving your kids and teaching them discipline. The whole life is striking a balance. कबीर जी ने कहा है, अति का भला न बरसना, अति की भली न धूप, अति का भला न बोलना, अति की भली न चुप. You strike balance in your life. How much you should go after money? There should be work-life balance, and this term has become very popular in professional life. People spend their whole life, right from morning to late night, they work to earn money, and money. But on the verge of death, they realize that they were unnecessarily very much over obsessed for earning money. There should be balance. The life should be rich with all experiences, with social work, with self work, with hobbies, spirituality, friends, society, family. The time should be spared equanimously among all these various dimensions of life. That is called work-life balance. You need emotional intelligence to strike the right kind of work-life balance and not become over-obsessed, over-engrossed, beyond a limit. Nowadays, right from childhood, in college life, in professional life as well, we are very much carried away behind the social media. A huge chunk of life is eaten away going after Facebook and WhatsApp and Twitter and Instagram. Of course, it is useful, but it is useful in proportion. If you go behind it every now and then and see how many likes you have received and see whether the ticks of WhatsApp have turned blue or not, and then start building your opinion about how much likes you get, then you are over obsessed. Then your time is going wasted in unimportant things. There is one more struggle and tussle in life, the things which are important and the things which are urgent. And one has to choose. And normally we are attracted towards things which are urgent and keep aside and postpone the things which are important. Emotional intelligence prompts you to go after things which are important. For example, exercise and fitness is an important thing, but it is something which is always postponed because some urgent things are given more priority. So to strike a correct balance, we need intelligence, emotional quotient. To build good relationship, you need intelligence quotient. Then attitude is very important in business. You need right kind of attitude. And right kind of attitude is given by emotional quotient. हमें वो एक उदाहरण बहुत ज्यादा मालूम है कि एक सेल्स एग्जीक्यूटिव a shoes and chappals manufacturing company was sent on an island. When he went there, he was surprised to see that all were moving barefoot. किसी को चप्पल पहनना मालूम नहीं, किसी के पास जूते नहीं. This man was frustrated and he sent message to his boss that, sir, here people are not even aware of shoes and chappals. I think there is no point in opening our outlet on this island. We'll incur loss, waste energy, money, time. Sir, I think this is not the right place for our business expansion. His boss, of course, was an experienced person. So the boss sent another executive. Another executive was thrilled to see the same situation on that island. When he saw nobody is wearing shoes and chappals, they are totally unaware of shoes and chappals, he immediately called his boss and said, sir, there is a huge opportunity. There is no competition at all. We shall be the pioneers in the business of shoes and chappals. We shall teach them how shoes and chappals protect their feet. And sir, I can just visualize a bumper profit and a huge business over here. We should not waste time and immediately start our outlet, company's outlet on this island. Now, this is attitudinal difference between two executives, and it is the function of emotional intelligence. One of the Pune builders started serving free tea to whosoever entered into his office for inquiry of flat and land and purchasing flats in his flat scheme. Now, one of his office staff brought his notice saying, sir, there are free mongers who enter into our office and enjoy tea, delicious tea. Sir, I suggest we should scan people and only genuine buyers are to be allowed to have tea. The builder smiled and said, yes, I'm aware, but it doesn't matter to me at all. I know that people who are for morning work also enter into our office with friends and drink tea, delicious tea. But they know that they don't want to buy any flat, others do not. Others feel that there is a huge big crowd interested in buying flats from the flat scheme of this builder. What I gain is advertisement at a very cheap rate of offering tea. So this is called right kind of attitude. And in business, right kind of attitude is very important. So emotional intelligence helps you in your business to grow your business. Even for employees, it is useful. Just imagine in a hotel, right from morning to noon, there is no customer. All waiters are free. They are chit-chatting, enjoying, talking to each other. And if they pray God to send such days more frequently, that means they are praying actually for the closure of hotel and their own layoff. So, right kind of attitude is necessary for the business owners, for managers, as well as for employees. Now, how to improve your emotional quotient? Though it is not in the purview of this topic, some very practical, simple tips can be given. Breath and thought has a close relationship. If you do deep breathing, you can control your thoughts. When you feel anxious or insulted or angry, rather than reacting immediately, take some 4-5 deep breaths and you will find your nerves getting calm. And you, with calmness, can do the right thing which is necessary over there. Doing Anulom Vilom Pranayam also shall balance the sun and the moon dimension in your personality. So that is also useful for emotional intelligence. When a bus from Gujarat carrying pilgrims to Amarnath was attacked by terrorists, There was a driver from Valsad district of Gujarat. He was Muslim by religion. And when the bus was attacked, there was a volley of bullets from terrorists' guns. And people were falling like flies and shouting and screaming. Wounded people were shouting, "Stop, stop the bus, stop the bus." Now, under pressure, had this driver stopped the bus, including him, everybody in the bus would have been dead. But the driver held his nerve, kept his calm, took the correct decision. He kept the bus running and stopped the bus only after 2.5 kilometers in a military camp. Had he lost his nerve, it would have been a big disaster. So, by deep breathing or by Anulom Vilom Pranayam, you can improve your emotional quotient. One more technique can be utilized, the technique of thinking. Normally, we think a lot. An average person has 60,000 thoughts in his mind per day. It is more than one thought per second. But these are all stray thoughts that deplete your energy. Those thoughts keep you engaged, and maximum thoughts arise from your memory or are guided by your imagination. You are not right mindful. If you create a conscious attempt to become always right mindful, present minded, always living in present tense and always engaged totally, your total personality engaged in what you are doing right now, then your emotional quotient can be improved. But at the same time, if you spare at least half an hour in a week just to think, focus on incidents, focus in the future, focus on your decisions. Just to think for the sake of thinking, doing nothing else but thinking. If you spare half an hour every week, then you can analyze critically and you can correct your decisions if the wrong decisions are taken. These are some practical tools. And in business, you are required to absorb shock. You are required to have vision. You are required to have multidimensional skills and multidimensional alertness. At the same time, one has to think about raw material, processing, quality, market, competition, financial aspects, every dimension. You need to have multidimensional personality. So you need emotional intelligence. It is very important. So let us learn it, learn the technique. In some other session, we shall focus one by one various techniques applying which we can use and improve our emotional quotient. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a great session with you on emotional intelligence, where you have talked about real life examples. And it is true. It is true that to make a life balance, human emotional intelligence is required, where balance of emotions and logic is done. It is also important how we apply knowledge in the real life example, like how you apply knowledge, how you make the decision in your real life, how you focus on your long term skills and values. These all are part of the emotions and emotion intelligence. So with this, I think we can conclude the session, and participants are requested after the end of this video, they can submit the assessment. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, sir.